An armed attack on Poland is being prepared by Russia. Chief of the General Staff of the Polish Army, General Wiesław Kukula, made this statement today following a preliminary sabotage investigation on the Polish railway. Today, a section of railway tracks was damaged in Poland. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk called the incident an unprecedented act of sabotage against the state, and the military urged for the urgent preparation of the armed forces, as they believe this is preparation for war. In particular, the Warsaw-Lublin railway line, which leads toward Ukraine, was damaged twice in one day. This route is crucial for sending humanitarian and military aid from the west to Ukraine. In this episode, we'll break down together what really happened and what consequences this will have. So, on November 17, there was a deliberate explosion on one of Poland's key railway lines, which connects Warsaw and Lublin and is important for delivering humanitarian and military aid to Ukraine. Unfortunately, the worst assumptions were confirmed. On the Warsaw-Lublin route, in the village of Mika, an act of sabotage took place, said Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, adding that the railway track was destroyed as a result of the explosion. On Sunday, the train driver of the Mazovian Railways noticed irregularities on the tracks in the area of Życina and Mika. He reported the incident to the dispatcher. As a result of the inspection carried out by the police, a depression about 100 cm long was found in the rails, meaning a section of the railway track had been blown up. After the initial information appeared, Tusk stated that what happened could be a deliberate act. However, he noted that final conclusions would be made as a result of the inspection. The Voivodesche Police Department of Radom reported that at the time of the incident, there were 2 passengers and several members of the service staff on the train. Fortunately, no one was injured. And so, according to the assessment of the Prime Minister of Poland, this was an unprecedented act of sabotage aimed against the security of the Polish state and its citizens. Tusk emphasized that those responsible will be found and brought to justice. Quote, "An investigation is underway. As in previous similar cases, we will find those responsible regardless of who directed them." But this was not the only incident in the region. Another infrastructure damage occurred on the same railway line. Another train stopped about 20 kilometers from this location. Lublin police reported there were 475 people on the train. In this area near the city of Puławy, a damaged overhead line fell onto the train. And so the Lublin police reported that the train was stopped because in one of the cars the windows were broken due to the fallen overhead line. The police do not rule out that these 2 incidents are connected. President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen, commenting on the sabotage on the railway in Poland, emphasized that threats to European security are real and constantly growing, and therefore we need to defend ourselves. Quote from Ursula von der Leyen, "Europe must urgently strengthen its ability to protect our skies and our infrastructure." Poland ranks first in Europe in terms of defense spending, and it will also be the biggest beneficiary of the SAFE instrument. Together we are stronger. Ukraine, for its part, expressed solidarity with Poland. The head of the Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Andriy Sybiha, stated, quote, "Our solidarity with friendly Poland after the act of sabotage on the Polish railways. We hope that the investigation will provide a clear answer, and we are also ready to provide assistance if we are asked." From here, the situation polarizes. The Poles have raised the alarm. The chief of the General Staff of the Polish Armed Forces, General Wiesław Kukula, commented on this situation. Speaking on Polish radio, he called the sabotage of railway tracks on the Wrocław-Lublin line part of an operation against Poland. Well, and then he added that this could be preparation for a full-scale aggression. Quote, "The enemy has begun preparations for war. He is creating a certain atmosphere here, aimed at undermining public trust in the government and such institutions as the armed forces and the police. This is aimed at creating conditions that are conducive to potential aggression on the territory of Poland." Later, the National Security Bureau issued a communiqué about sabotage acts on Polish territory. Quote, "In connection with the revealed, deliberate and apparently sabotage-related damage to the railway infrastructure on line No 7 Warsaw-Dorohusk, the National Security Bureau is collecting and verifying information about these incidents. President Karol Nawrodow has been informed about this issue. This serious situation requires special oversight and reliable communication with all parties to clarify it." Polish Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz emphasized on social media that the military will inspect the railway track. Quote, The army is inspecting a section of about 120 kilometers along the railway track up to the border with Ukraine. Security at key points of the railway infrastructure has been strengthened. It's clear now that it's Russia. After the provocation with drones flying over European military facilities, after Russian fighter jets entered European airspace, and after Europe failed to respond adequately, it decided to move on to open sabotage, especially in such a demonstrative way on a railway section that leads to Ukraine. And today, German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius stated that a war between NATO and Russia could start in the coming years. He believes Europe may have had its last peaceful summer. Quote, "We have always said that this could happen in 2029. However, now there are others who say that it could happen as early as 2028. And some military historians even believe that we have had our last peaceful summer." NATO armed forces need to be even better equipped for possible combat operations against Russia. So, starting from mid-2027, comprehensive medical examinations will begin in Germany to determine who can be drafted. In the event of a state of emergency in the country, Berlin will gradually form a reserve from former conscripts, thereby strengthening overall defense capability. But, what's important is that Pistorius admitted it. He says that Europe realized the threat posed by Russia too late, even though Ukraine had been warning about it for a long time. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, everyone. Subtitles.